They say there's a house hidden in the hills of Cape Town. No signs. No address. Just black gates, and silence. People don't talk about it. But some say, the woman who lives there isn't really human. This is where the story of Dani begins. Welcome back to Crystal Chronicles, guys. Dani was 23. A young delivery guy from Bela-Bela. Tall. Handsome. Ambitious. At night, he made music. During the day, he delivered wine, food, whatever paid. That evening, he got a strange order. A very old bottle of French wine. Nothing special, until he saw the delivery tip, R8000. The address said, Durban Estate. Constantia Hills. No gate code. No number. Just a location pin, deep in the hills. He almost ignored it. But the money was too good. The sun was going down as he drove up the narrow road. Trees surrounded him. Thick. Quiet. His GPS started messing up. Still, he kept driving. Then, the gates appeared. Two tall black iron gates. Twisted like vines. He reached out to press the buzzer, but the gates opened by themselves. Slowly. Silently. He felt a chill in his chest. But he drove in. The driveway was long and curved. Lined with old stone statues. Men, women, some covering their faces. Some with open mouths. Too real. Too detailed. Rich people like creepy art, Dani said to himself. He laughed, but it felt forced. Then he saw the mansion. It was big. Old. Beautiful. With tall windows and glowing lights inside. And on the front porch, she stood there. The woman. Mira. She looked like something from a dream. Golden brown skin. Long black hair. A flowing red silk dress that hugged her body like water. Her lips full. Her eyes, glowing. Amber. Watching him. She didn't smile. She studied him, like she already knew his name. She said softly. So they sent me a tall one this time. Dani froze. This time. But before he could speak, she smiled. Come in, she said. You've come all this way. You deserve a drink. Dani hesitated. His heart told him to leave. But her voice pulled him in. It was soft. Deep. Sweet, like honey. He stepped forward. The front door opened on its own. The air inside smelled like flowers, and something else. Like old metal. He walked in. The door closed behind him. Loud. He turned around, but she was already there beside him, holding a glass. Just one night, she whispered. That's all I ask. He looked down at the glass. Dark red wine. He took a sip. Cold. Sweet. Then. Everything started to feel slow. Heavy. His eyes closed for a second. When he opened them again. She was standing right in front of him. Smiling. The world outside was gone. The night had begun. The door closed behind Dani like a trap. Loud. Heavy. The sound echoed through the mansion. He turned to open it, but it didn't have a handle. Just smooth wood, like it was never meant to open again. Inside, the house was cold but not uncomfortable. Dark marble floors. High ceilings. Tall red curtains hung from the windows like blood. The lights were soft, golden and low. Dani followed Mira without a word. She didn't speak either. She walked ahead, barefoot, her silk dress flowing behind her like a shadow. She led him to a sitting room. There was no TV. No sound. Just candles, red velvet chairs, and a huge painting on the wall. It showed a woman sitting alone. On a throne made of bones. "Sit," she said, softly. Dani obeyed. She handed him another glass of wine. He didn't see where it came from, again. He looked at her face. Flawless skin. Perfect lips. But her eyes, there was something ancient in them. Like she had seen more than any person should. She sat close. Very close. "Tell me your name," she whispered. "Dani, from Bela-Bela," he said. "People call me that. I work there part-time." Mira smiled. "Dani." She said it like it was her favorite name in the world. Then she leaned in closer. "You're beautiful, Dani. So full of fire. So full of dreams." Dani tried to smile, but he felt strange. The wine. It was pulling him under. His eyes blinked slowly. "You said, just one night," he mumbled. Mira smiled again. "One night, to start." She touched his chest. Her fingers were warm. Too warm. His heart beat faster. She leaned in. Whispered something in a language he didn't understand. And then, everything went black. When Dani opened his eyes. He was in a bed. Not his bed. A massive, soft bed with black silk sheets. Candles burned around the room. And Mira stood at the window, her back to him. Still in her red dress. Still perfect. But humming a soft tune, that made the walls tremble. He sat up fast. "What time is it?" he asked. No answer. "Where are my clothes?" he said louder. Still nothing. He stood up, confused. His clothes were folded neatly on a chair, but the door was gone. Not locked. Not broken. Gone. Just wall where a door should be. "Mira," he said, slowly. She turned. Smiling. But now her eyes were glowing. Bright, golden. Like fire. "Rest, Dani," she whispered. "You're still tired." His knees buckled. His body felt heavy again. Like he had no strength of his own. "I want to leave," he mumbled. Mira walked toward him. Step by step. "You already did," she said. "In another life." She touched his face. "You just don't remember yet." Then everything went dark. Again. Dani woke up again. Same bed. Same black silk sheets. Same red candles glowing in the corners. But this time, Mira wasn't there. The room was cold. He sat up, head pounding. His phone was gone. His shoes, gone. Only his folded clothes on the chair remained, perfectly clean. Pressed. He stood and looked around. Still no door. Only smooth walls. But now, there was a mirror. Tall. Old. Gold frame. And written on the mirror, in red lipstick, were 5 words. "Don't look too long. Run." Dani stepped closer. He saw himself. But the reflection wasn't right. He blinked. In the mirror, his eyes were bloodshot. His face pale. And behind him, a shadow moved. Fast. He spun around. Nothing. "Hello?" he called out. No answer. Just silence. And then, a whisper. "You need to leave." A man's voice. Broken. Faint. "Who said that?" Dani asked, stepping back. No response. Then another whisper. "She feeds at night, run when she sleeps." Dani's chest tightened. He wasn't alone. Something, or someone, else was here. But who? And where? He touched the mirror again. Suddenly, a crack formed. Right down the middle. The glass split, and from the crack, a dark mist started to leak out. He jumped back. Footsteps. Behind the wall. Soft. Slow. Barefoot. Then the wall moved. A hidden door slid open, not where the original door was, a different wall entirely. Cold air rushed in. And down a hallway. Dani saw something move. He stepped out of the room, heart pounding. The hallway was narrow. Dark wood. No windows. Candles flickered with every breath he took. He followed the sound, soft, slow crying. He turned a corner, and saw a man. Curled up on the floor. Thin. Shirtless. Pale. Eyes wide. Mouth shaking. The man looked up at Dani and whispered. "Don't trust her. She said the same thing to me. Just one night." Dani stepped closer. "Who are you?" But before the man could answer, his body turned to dust, right in front of Dani's eyes. Blown away like sand. Then a deep, echoing voice filled the hallway. Not Myra's voice. The house. It whispered. "You saw too much." The candles blew out. Darkness swallowed everything. Dani ran. He didn't know where he was going. The hallway kept shifting. Walls moving. Floors bending. He stumbled into a new room, smaller, cold, full of mirrors. He turned, but the doorway was gone. Trapped. Again. And now, he could hear Myra's voice. Calling him. Sweetly. "Dani. Dani from Bela-Bela. Come back to bed." He backed into a corner. His body was shaking. Then, her footsteps. Slow. Soft. Dangerous. Her voice again. "Every man tries to leave. Until I show them what I really am." The mirror closest to him cracked. Another whisper. "Find the red key, before sunrise." And then, silence. Dani dropped to his knees. He was trapped in something not human. Not normal. This was a mansion of desire, illusion, and hunger. And he had no idea how to escape. The mirrors in the small room began to flicker. Each one showed a different version of Dani. In one, he looked older, tired, empty. In another, he was rich, dressed in silk, with gold around his neck. In the last one, he was kissing Mira, smiling, and completely lost. He backed away. Then. The wall in front of him melted, turning into silk, flowing like water, and Mira stepped through it. She looked even more stunning than before. Her dress now black and gold. Her hair in waves over her shoulders. Her skin glowing like it had just tasted fire. Her body, exaggerated. Curves fuller. Hips wider. Lips deeper. And her eyes, glowing gold, bright as the sun. She smiled, stepping closer. "You saw him, didn't you?" she whispered. "The boy who turned to dust." Dani didn't answer. His breathing was heavy. "He didn't listen," she said. "He fought me. Cried. Begged. And in the end, he faded. Because this house does not like disobedience." Dani tried to speak. His voice cracked. "Let me go." Mira smiled wider. "But why?" she asked, circling him like a lion. "You have everything here. Wine. Warmth. Me." She stopped in front of him and touched his face. "You don't have to run anymore, Dani. I can give you pleasure beyond your dreams. Endless comfort. Eternal youth." He looked into her eyes, and for a second, he saw something else inside her. A much older face. Wrinkled. Hollow. Eyes empty. Skin cracked. Then it disappeared. "What are you?" he whispered. Mira paused. Then leaned in, her lips close to his ear. "I'm what happens when a woman is worshipped too much. When love turns to obsession. When beauty becomes a curse." She stepped back. "I'm the hunger men created." Dani shook his head. "This is wrong." Mira sighed. "They all say that at first. Until they taste what I give them." Suddenly, the floor around him changed, showing flashes of other men. Dozens. All young. All handsome. Some laughing. Some crying. Some chained to beds. Others staring blankly with lifeless eyes. "You're not the first," she said softly. "But you could be the last. If you just say yes." Dani turned, trying to find a door. Nothing. She stepped closer, pressing her hand to his chest. "Just say yes, Dani. Stay. Be my man. Forever." Dani's heart raced. He was scared. But a part of him, a very small, confused part, wanted to say yes. Her beauty was unreal. Her touch felt like fire and silk. But something inside him still whispered, "Run." Then, the whisper came again. "The red key is under the bed." Dani blinked. Mira turned her head. "You heard that?" she asked. Dani didn't answer. Her smile dropped. "You're not supposed to hear them anymore," she said sharply. "You're mine now." She raised her hand, and the room began to shift. Walls melted. Lights turned red. The mirrors cracked one by one. Dani dropped to the floor, crawling backward. She reached for him. But before she could touch him, he rolled and slipped under the bed. Silence. Darkness. Breath shaking, he reached forward. His fingers touched cold metal. The red key. He grabbed it. Above him, Myra's voice screamed. "You don't know what you've done." Then everything went quiet. Just Dani. Alone. Holding the key. And hearing his own heartbeat. Dani sat under the bed, holding the red key. His hands were shaking. His chest tight. He could still hear Myra's scream echoing in his ears. But now, everything was quiet. Too quiet. He slid out from under the bed, slow and careful. Mira was gone. The room looked normal again. No red lights. No melting walls. Just a heavy silence, like the house was holding its breath. Dani stood up. He held the red key tightly. One door. Black. Tall. Covered in strange carvings. He hadn't seen it before. Now, it was just there, waiting. The air around it was colder than the rest of the house. Like it hadn't been opened in years, or ever. He stepped forward. The key fit perfectly. Click. The door creaked open, slowly. Darkness inside. A smell hit him, dust, old blood, burnt flowers. He stepped in. The door shut behind him. Pitch black. Then, small candles lit themselves one by one. Revealing, the forbidden room. It was a long hallway, but the walls weren't made of stone. They were made of glass. Behind each glass wall, was a room. Each one different. Each one filled with a different man. Some sat quietly, staring at nothing. Some banged on the glass, screaming silently. Others cried, praying to gods Dani didn't know. They were trapped, frozen in time. One looked directly at Dani. His lips moved. "Help us." Dani stepped back, horrified. This was a prison. A prison for men Mira had taken. The hallway ended in front of a massive golden door. On it, a painting of Mira. But not the Mira he knew. This one was old, wrinkled, dying. She stood surrounded by flames, her eyes full of pain. Below the painting were words carved in kosa. To be loved forever, she must never be left. Dani pushed the door open. Inside, was a room unlike the others. Dark red. Covered in silk curtains. But in the middle was a stone altar. On the altar a book. Old. Leather-bound. Bleeding at the spine. He opened it. It was Mira's story. Page after page, drawn in strange ink and faded blood, told the tale. Mira was once a beautiful queen. Loved by many. Worshipped like a goddess. But when the love faded, when she aged, her kingdom forgot her. She begged the spirits to make her young again. They answered. But at a price. Her beauty was restored, but her heart was cursed. Now, she must feed on love, passion, and youth, or fade into dust. Every man who touches her, belongs to her. Forever. Dani dropped the book. Suddenly, the room grew cold. The candles blew out. Footsteps. Behind him. He turned. Mira stood there. Her eyes glowing. Her face, now flickering between youth and old age. Her voice was low. Controlled. You weren't supposed to see this. Dani stepped back. I know what you are, he said. Mira laughed. A deep, bitter laugh. No, Dani, she whispered. You don't know anything yet. The ground cracked beneath them. Red light poured from the cracks like lava. Stay with me, she begged. I'll give you everything. We can live in pleasure, forever. Dani looked around. The spirits were rising. The house was breaking apart. He looked down. In the broken floor, he saw a trapdoor glowing faintly. He had a choice. Stay with Mira. Or dive into the unknown. Her hand reached for him. Tears in her glowing eyes. Please. He turned. And jumped into the light. Dani didn't know how long he was falling. Seconds. Minutes. There was no wind. No light. Just darkness and the feeling of being pulled through water made of smoke. Then he hit the ground. Hard. Dust flew up around him. His ribs ached. He groaned and sat up, coughing. He wasn't in the mansion anymore. He was somewhere else. Somewhere ancient. A cave. Or something like a cave. The air was thick with smoke and whispers. Glowing roots hung from the ceiling, pulsing like veins. Symbols were carved into the walls, old symbols, older than language. And in the air. A soft chant. Faint. Like children singing far away. He stood. The red key was still in his hand, glowing slightly. Behind him, the hole he fell through was gone. No way back. Then, footsteps. Soft. He turned fast. A man stood at the far end of the chamber. Old. Thin. Dressed in animal skin. Face painted in white lines, eyes clouded with time. He spoke in a voice that echoed in Dani's head. She let you go. Dani backed up. Who are you? The man stepped closer. I am one of the first. The first she kissed. The first she kept. He raised a hand, it was cracked like dry clay. But I escaped, into here. The place where her curse was born. Where truth has no glamour. Dani looked around. Where am I? The old man's voice was calm. You are in the root. This is where her beauty dies. And her truth lives. Suddenly, Dani heard movement. He turned. Spirits. Dozens of them. Men, young, old, some with faces, some with none. They walked slowly, glowing faintly. Their eyes empty, but focused on Dani. They began to speak, all at once. She lied. She promised love. She fed on us. She became young. We became nothing. The old man raised his staff, and the spirits faded into smoke. They are the forgotten ones, he said. You are not like them yet, but if you stay too long, you will be. Dani looked down at the red key. I found this. I don't know what it opens. The old man nodded slowly. It opens the only door that matters. The heart room. The place where she hides the last piece of her soul. Burn it, and you break the curse. But if you fail, she will live forever. And you, will not. Dani swallowed hard. How do I get there? The old man turned and pointed. A wall of thick vines parted, revealing a glowing tunnel, made of fire and bone. Walk this path. Face her truths. Take nothing with you but courage. If you look back, you will be lost. As Dani stepped into the tunnel, the air grew heavier. The walls pulsed. The floor cracked beneath his feet. And the chants in the air turned into screams. Suddenly, a memory hit him. His mother's voice. From far away. Dani, you are stronger than darkness. Stronger than fear. Don't forget who you are. He walked faster. Behind him, voices whispered again. Stay with her. It's easier. She loves you. Dani shouted. She doesn't love anyone. She only feeds. And then, silence. The tunnel opened. He stepped into a chamber with no roof. Only stars above, but not the stars we know. They were dark red. Twisted. In the center of the room stood a golden door, glowing from the inside. The red key in his hand began to burn. He was close. But so was she. Suddenly, Myra's voice, soft and desperate. Dani, stop. Please. You don't understand. I'm trying to survive. She appeared in front of the door. Not dressed in silk. Not perfect anymore. Her face was flickering, young one moment, ancient the next. Her hands shaking. Her dress torn. Her eyes, full of pain. I'm not a monster, she whispered. I was made this way. Dani stepped forward. You had a choice. You still do. Mira dropped to her knees. Tears fell. I just wanted to be loved. He raised the red key. But stopped. Her voice cracked. Please, if you burn my heart. I die in every man's memory. Like I never existed. Dani stood there. Sweating. Confused. Angry. Pity. Rage. Fear, all mixing in his chest. He looked at her. And then at the door. Inside was her true heart. Not just the thing keeping her alive. But the last piece of her soul. He stepped past her. Mira screamed. The door opened. A red flame burst out, alive, wild, ancient. The final test had begun. The door opened, and Dani stepped into flames. But he didn't burn. The fire surrounded him like light. It whispered, screamed, begged. Faces appeared in the flames, Myra's lovers. Her victims. Her fears. In the center, floating, was a beating heart. Glowing red. Pulsing like thunder. This was her soul. Broken. Twisted. Still alive. As Dani stepped closer, the flames rose higher. Myra's voice filled the chamber, now everywhere, all at once. Please, Dani. I don't want to be forgotten. She appeared inside the fire, beautiful again. Tears in her eyes. She reached for him. You can have it all. Stay. Live like a king. Touch this heart, and you erase me forever. Dani's chest hurt. She wasn't lying. He felt her pain. Her emptiness. But he also saw the faces in the fire, all the men she fed on. All the lives she had taken for her own beauty. He looked at her one last time, then he spoke softly. I won't let you hurt anyone else. He reached forward. And touched the heart. It screamed. The fire exploded outward, blinding white light. And everything disappeared. Then, birds. Dani opened his eyes. He was outside. Lying in the hills above Durban Estate. The sun was rising. His clothes were torn. His body bruised. But he was alive. And the mansion? Gone. No ruins. No smoke. Just an empty hill, like it had never existed. He stood slowly. The red key was gone. Only a faint scar on his palm remained. A reminder. He turned to leave, but something caught his eye. A single red rose. Growing in the grass. He picked it up. There was a note tied to the stem. One word. Thank you. Back in Bela-Bela, Dani tried to go back to normal. Music. Work. Life. But he had changed. Some nights, he still heard whispers in his dreams. Sometimes, when he looked in mirrors, he swore he saw her eyes. One night, his friend asked. Yo, Dani, where you disappear to that weekend? Durban, right? Dani smiled faintly. Yeah, something like that. In a quiet city. Far from Bela-Bela. Far from Durban. A woman steps out of a luxury car. She's tall. Curvy. Skin like gold. Her eyes? Amber. She smiles as a young man walks by. Then disappears into the shadows. Some stories never truly end. They just change their name. And wait for the next soul to knock on the wrong door. Thank you for watching till the end, guys.